Hey everybody, it's Friday. I'm Kate Richburg and it's Free Tip Friday from beadshop.com. Oh my goodness, what a crazy week. Hopefully you really enjoyed our last Facebook Live broadcast on Wednesday when we did our Great Stitches in Time project, first part of our bead along. If you haven't, you can go check it out on our Facebook Live page right here, right now. Well, after I'm done, let's say. You can also find all of our regular Facebook Live broadcasts that happen on Wednesdays. You can find them right at our website at beadshop.com. And of course, they're archived on our YouTube channel. Free Tip Friday is a fairly new thing we're doing here at beadshop.com, and this is maybe our third or fourth one, Grace, isn't it, that we've been doing, I think?
3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4. We're coming along on them. A lot of you have actually asked where you can find these Free Tip Fridays. They're a little more off the cuff, a little less planned, and it just kind of goes hand in hand with some of the things that we have on special and stuff this week to teach you how to use them. Just quick little tutorials. Well, I want to show you where you can find them if you stumble upon these later and you don't get to watch them live. If you actually go, I've got my trusty computer in front of me. If you go to our bead shop, I'll turn it a little bit more. There we go. Our beadshop.com playlist, or our beadshop.com rather YouTube channel that's there. If you go, we have a whole bunch of great content on our YouTube channel. You can find us at beadshop.com there. If you go to playlists, we've got 2 playlists going. We've got all of our Facebook Live videos here, and we've got our Free Tip Friday videos here. So you can watch both of those. We're still archiving some of our Free Tip Fridays, but that's where you'll find them. And in the title, you'll just see the different things that we're giving you tips on. And so hopefully you'll find those helpful. So I just wanted to let you guys know what was going on with that. The other thing, whoops, I didn't put my computer on silent. Oh my gosh, that was my bad. I like to do these on Fridays just to let you guys know that we've got some fun stuff always coming up on the weekends. So it's a little prod if you have not signed up for our newsletter on beadshop.com. Go to our homepage, beadshop.com, and sign up right on the newsletter. We've always got great things going on the weekends. Really, sometimes really great special offers, sometimes really great giveaways, and we might be having a giveaway this weekend, Grace. I don't know. You're going to have to check and see. We also had a newsletter special this morning, this Friday morning, February 17th. It's a one-day special, and it really ties into what I'm going to share with you on this Free Tip Friday, which is 15% off on our, if I go into our components section, we've got 15% off on our clasps, which we've got right here, and our crimps and finishings.
Can you show clasps again?
Oh, yeah, sure. Right there. So that's our clasps category there. And you just click through, and no coupons needed, you guys. Everything is just marked on sale. But this sale actually ends midnight tonight, February 17th, and also with crimps and finishings here. And our newsletter sales are kind of fun because we do, we like to keep in touch with you guys, and so our newsletters are a great way to see our specials. But so enough about that, you guys. Let me show you actually how I use those crimps and finishings. Now, I've made a little pile of stuff from our crimps and finishings category, and I just want to show you how I put together a few things with leather cord, because I love using leather, and so I want to share some of my tips with you. So I'm going to close up my computer and let's get cracking. We got anybody out there, Gracie?
Yeah, we have hellos from, let's see, let me go up to the top while I'm readjusting this. 1 second.
No worries.
Alyssa says, Gym morning from Cali.
Yay!
And
hey!
She said, Louise says, good morning. Alyssa says, good morning.
Good
Karen
morning.
says, hello, Kate.
Hello.
And then she also says, and Grace.
Yay!
Kat says, hello from Desert Hot Springs, California.
Oh,
Kathy
that's
says,
great.
thank you so much. Louise says, sounds like fun. Yippee. Hi, Kate.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Love you, ladies. And Drea says, I'm here.
Hi, Tria. Yay! Great. Well, I wanted to share, our crimps and finishings category, you guys, is super vast. And I could spend, we could spend the whole afternoon together on Facebook Live with me just going on and on. But I went in and I grabbed some of my favorites. And this isn't really like a formal tutorial, but it's just to maybe spark some creativity that you might have. What I've got going on here is some of our round leather cord. I've got it in a 1 millimeter, a 1.5 millimeter, and here a 2 millimeter. And sometimes I find that my students and my customers always have questions like, well, Kate, I love using leather, but sometimes I'm not really sure how to close it up. Well, there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. We have a ton of crimps and closures, and we've even shown on previous Facebook Lives. I think there's a Free Tip Friday floating around when I tie a sliding adjustable knot on one of those somewhere, and I'll do that again for you guys sometime. But these crimp ends, I think, are some of the easiest ways to connect your leather. So let me just show you. We've got this oval crimp. And the way that these oval crimps are sized, and a lot of our leather crimps are sized, they're sized by millimeter. Oh, that's a nice one, Grace. This is the 1.5 millimeter, and this is the 2 millimeter. And so they're really meant to fit into the different sizes of leather. So if I put a 2 millimeter leather, and I put it, it's Friday, so my fingers are ready for the weekend. I don't know about you guys. But see how that 2 millimeter crimp, how that translates perfectly into fitting right into the 2 millimeter oval crimp there. And then the 1.5 millimeter, you get the drift. It fits right into the 1.5 like that. Okay, and so on. So if you're stringing a necklace or you're doing something with your leather cord, just a simple way to do it would be to connect, your little crimp end right onto the end and clasp it shut, or crimp it shut. So I'm actually going to do that for you now. And what I use, you can use, of course, your regular chain nose plier, or you can use your bent chain nose, but you need a nice tight connection. Now sometimes people ask, they go, Kate, well, do you ever glue this in? And I'll be honest, sometimes I do, but not usually. And can you see, I'm going to bring it right up to the camera. Can you see there's that little nub right there? It's over to the left side. It's this right there. That little nub, what you do is you push the leather so it goes all the way up to the top. And when I crimp, which I'm going to do right now, firmly and gently, that little nub, I'm going to get it in there. It's a little far away from me. But that little nub comes in and it flattens into the leather. And see how I turn it back and forth to make a nice, even crimp. And can you see how that little guy just goes right in there, and so it's nice and tight, it's not going to come off. That's what really holds the leather in. So there's no real need for glue when you use a crimp end like this. And again, see how I'm just back and forth, just making sure, you don't want to kill the crimp on your first run-in because you might mark it. So you just want to be really gentle as you come in and flip back and forth. So there's my crimp end.
Can I ask a question on behalf of Karen?
Yeah.
She wants to know if that's like a clam crimp.
So do you mean, Karen, like a clamshell, like a crimp cover? Or is that what you're getting at? Or like a clamshell when I would use, if I were using a clamshell for thread? Because this, I wouldn't use to either cover a crimp tube like I would one of those little clamshell crimp covers, or I also wouldn't use this probably with thread or nylon stringing material. I'd keep this probably pretty much for leather. Yeah, so I would say this would be specifically for leather rather than going over the top of a crimp tube, if that makes sense. So, you know, it's pretty simple to then just string something on, right? Let's say I were going to just string on a little, like a little heart. Is that the wind? I think it's the wind. It's really storming here, you guys, today in California. So you might hear a little bit of the storm outside. We're not used to rain. So you can see here, I can just string on a little heart charm or something. But a cool way also to use these ends, if we start kind of thinking outside the box. Let's say that I wanted to make something that was more like a lariat necklace. And this is just kind of a shorter piece of cord. So I would use maybe a piece of cord that's a little bit longer. But you could also attach with a jump ring, and we've talked about jump rings on last week's Free Tip Friday about how to make them. But whoops. See, it's Friday. My hands are saying it's the weekend, and my brain is saying, no, you're still at work. There we go. Put that little bugger on there. Get this guy on. And see how I can use a crimp not only to attach a clasp, but I could attach a charm at the end of that as well. And if I did this on two sides, and you know, like a lariat necklace, the way a lariat kind of works is you wrap it around your neck and kind of tie it in front, right? So if I were doing a lariat, I could do one side with that little heart, and I could do the second side maybe with like this little lotus or something, right? So it would be a little bit of a different way to start thinking about using crimps, not only for the end of your pieces, but using them as a design feature in your necklace. The other thing that I was thinking about doing with these, and this idea actually just came to me before I went live on air, so it may all end in tears. It's kind of off the cuff, but let's see what happens. I grabbed some of our slider beads that we've got here, and you see us use these a lot in like our laddering designs or in our designs that we use with strap leather. And I'm going to just tie a knot here in my cord, and I'm going to just tie, when I tie a knot, this is just an overhand knot that goes through, and I'm going to tie it one more time. When I tie an overhand knot with leather, I like to do it double so I get a nice even knot. And again, you might be thinking, Kate, what leather you're using? I'm using the 1.5 millimeter. Okay, so there's one knot. Let me go ahead and add a couple of beads just for fun. And maybe I want those beads to float in there, so I'm not going to worry about it being too tight. I'm just going to have it come through.
Karen says she loves creations on the fly.
Right.
So fun with flexibility.
Right, I agree. That's why our Free Tip Fridays are a little less scripted, a little more off the cuff than our regular Facebook Live broadcasts, because sometimes I find I work best under pressure. Come on, Kate, make something cool. Okay, let me think something up. So see how those little guys, these can just kind of wander on there, and I could continue creating a necklace like this all the way around and across. These are our beads. Remind me, Grace, the name. I should have made a point.
Gosh,
Do you know? These are. Yeah, they are. Shortcut. Nice one.
On the cut.
Nice one. On the fly. Good one. So I could then add one of these guys here. I'm just going to slide this on. Slide this on. 1.5 millimeter, you guys, is really my go-to leather size. I'll be honest, I like using leather a lot, and sometimes I find that if I'm using a necklace, the 1 millimeter is a little skinny, and sometimes the 2 millimeter is a little big. So just like Goldilocks, I find the 1.5 millimeter to be just right.
Faye, who said hello earlier, says,
Hey, Faye.
Love all your broadcasts, and she's learned so much so far.
Oh, Faye, thank you so much.
Oh, and Drea just posted the shortcut brass.
Thank you, Drea. Teamwork. The bead shop team is always 100%. I love it. Thank you so much.
She'll link. Where's Geeta?
Right, where's Geeta, right? Geeta, we're missing you today. So let's say that I wanted to do something wacky, you guys. So totally wacky. I'm going to cut this away. Okay, because I've just made a little length of beads. Now there's a lot of stuff I could do with this, right? I could make another one of these, several other ones, and I could connect them all together with a jump ring, and I could use this as a tassel, right? I could also, what I was thinking of, what might be kind of cool, because earrings for me are really having a moment right now. I'm using our niobium copper with the 3mm bead. This is one of my favorite ear wires because I really like the copper look. So I could just come in. I could even put a length of chain down here too, right, for kind of a boho kind of design feel. But I'd open up this. It's really whistling, that wind. It sounds, if you hear, you guys, when it sounds like somebody's whistling right over my shoulder, it really is the wind. Oh my gosh.
Nicole says, you guys are really the best. I love all your designs and your projects. Such a great shop. Thanks for making beading so much fun.
Thank you, Nicole. That warms my heart. It means we're doing something right. Thank you so much. So see how it's like a long duster kind of an earring? And if I added a few lengths of chain to that jump ring, I think it's kind of a cool idea, kind of a cool earring idea. I like it too. I just thought of it, right? Totally on the fly. I thought of that just before we were starting, which is why I didn't grab chain, but I grabbed this stuff.
Nice.
But we'll let it kind of, you guys can kind of take it and run from there. But earrings are really, you know, they're one of my favorite things to make.
That's kind of a cool thing to do with leftover leather.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
don't even have to use a full spool for it.
No, if you have like little bits, which is why, you know, we never throw away our little bits of leather. Especially Grace. Grace is like you're like a little collector, right? But we like to. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but it's really
good for everybody,
right? Yeah, totally. You know, we're just like you guys. We like to hoard our stuff too. But see, we're getting a lot of hearts and stuff too.
It says Christine says it sounds like a tea kettle.
Does it? Yeah. Well, it's the wind. And a way to, I think, kind of get a good mix of leather. If you're like, oh, I wish I could just get a whole bunch of different bits of leather. We do have a product called It's a Lot of Leather, right? And it comes in a mix, and you can find that, I think, in our leather category. And it's 2 ounces of leather.
You know, I think it is 2. I think Jen said it was either 2.
Yeah.
Jen, is it 2 ounces or 2 grams? A lot of leather.
2 ounces of leather, yeah. So it's a nice bag. You get a nice bag, a nice mix. So it's a good way to kind of experiment and practice with this. So I think as far as crimps go, just as a reminder, for these leather crimps, the tool that you need is just a really good either bent chain nose or regular chain nose plier. When you crimp, you just want to crimp back and forth to make sure that you've got a nice solid crimp. And remember that the leather crimps are sized by the hole. So if you see something that says a 1.5 millimeter, or if you see something that says a 2 millimeter, it means that's the size of the hole of the leather that you actually put into the crimp. So I hope you guys have found this helpful. I don't know if there are any other tips or questions you guys might have. Just as a reminder, that's that double overhand knot that I did, just going through once and going through twice. And that gives you a nice clean finish, a nice straight up and down knot like that. So just remember, I'm going to go back over here and sign off because we're going to continue our day here at beadshop.com. But just as a reminder, we do have 15% off just today on some of the things I use, the crimps and finishings, as well as the clasps. Yeah, Grace, question.
Quick question. Margaret asks if there's a trick to get the knots close together or an exact spot.
Oh, that's a good question. So let me do that real quick, just forward here. Maybe you guys can see. This is that 2mm leather I was using. Is this good, Grace?
Yeah.
Can you see it okay? So what I'll do is I'll make my loop, and I'll do this kind of big so you can see it. And I'll take the end of my leather, I'll go through once, and I'll go through twice, Margaret, so you can see how when I pull the leather, see how that leather wants to kind of become a figure 8? Just let it kind of go into, you can really see that figure 8 there. I'm trying to adjust my hands so you can see it. As that figure 8 starts to tighten, I'm going to turn it to the other side with my fingers. I'm going to push these little legs of the knot, the little loops of the knot. I'm going to push those together, and then I'm going to tighten it on one side, and then the other. Okay, so that's the way to get a nice tight leather knot there. So you can see the loops on one side, and there's a little X on the other. Now, if I wanted to place another knot like right here, basically I wanted to aim for here, what I would do is I'd pinch with my fingers where I want that knot to be, and then I would cross at that point once and go through. Sorry, making sure I'm in the shot there. Am I? And then I kind of push the knot to where that pinch is, and while it's still loose, I can manipulate it. See, I can manipulate it a little bit closer, or when it's big, a little bit further away, like that. The trick, I think, with doing knots in general with jewelry making is that slow and steady wins the race with knots. You just don't want to flick a knot in there and tighten it real fast. You just want to take your time, be really mindful about where you're positioning that knot, and then tighten it up. Okay? Oh, there's our tea kettle again. There's that whistling. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful. Alrighty. Well, you guys have an amazing weekend. Go ahead and check that newsletter if you're so inclined. There's going to be some cool stuff in it for the weekend. Janice and I are gearing up for our second part of our Facebook Live on Wednesday at 10:30 Pacific time. We're going to do the second part of our beat along. It was really fun to start our Stitches in Time project. And that's what I've got. So have a great weekend. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys soon.